New Representative Madison Cawthorn is facing multiple credible accusations of sexual harassment, and it's not currently something that the Republican Party seems to give a damn about, but we're pretty consistent on that, so we're gonna talk about it again. And this time we're bringing in a guest. Very excited to welcome to the show the Director of Communications for Ultraviolet, as well as the host of There Are No Girls on the Internet, Bridget Todd. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Great to have you on. And so there had already been information about Madison Cawthorn and the variety of things he had done before becoming a representative. More allegations are coming out. For the purposes of those in our audience who might not be familiar with them, if you could just say a little bit about what's been alleged and what your reaction to the entire thing is.
Well, what's been alleged is a really troubling pattern of disrespectful, sexist behavior, sexual harassment from multiple women. BuzzFeed spoke with more than 30 people and described, different women coming forward with their stories of misogynistic, aggressive, predatory behavior toward him. And calling women slutty, asking them inappropriate questions about their sex lives, grabbing their thighs and forcing them to sit in his lap, just really gross stuff. And I wanna make it very clear, this is a troubling pattern. He should definitely resign. There should be an independent investigation. And this kind of behavior shouldn't be tolerated. I'm not even surprised to find out that someone who visited Hitler's vacation home when he had a vacation time would turn out to be kind of a horrible person. So really not super surprising, but definitely troubling.
Yeah, and sometimes when things like this happen, they'll hide behind, well, these allegations are about things that happened a billion years ago. But one of the consequences of being one of the youngest people ever elected to Congress is, what did this happen? Like a year before he started planning his run? Like this is pretty current stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, it's not like people are going back to his childhood behavior. He's a young person. This was not that long ago. And I think it's completely appropriate to be asking, is this someone who is fit to lead and fit to serve? And I would say, no, it's not.
So what would you and your organization like to see happen in this area?
We would like him to step down. We would like people to loudly disavow him. And we would like there to be an investigation into his behavior. And I also just want to make something else very clear. We know that Donald Trump did not invent, or he wasn't the first person to sort of to champion this kind of sexist, misogynistic behavior. But I do think he showed the Republican Party that, hey, maybe it's possible that you could be elected, not just in spite of this kind of behavior, but because of it. And so I think that the Republican Party really has some troubling stuff to contend with. And we think that absolutely there should be an investigation.
And as of right now, do you expect that that's likely to happen?
No. I mean, you said it yourself. There's been almost no Republican outcry on this issue. And so I don't think we'll see an investigation.
And I'm glad that you brought up Donald Trump, because a lot of what he did was not totally new. It was just a little bit more brazen, a little bit more exaggerated. The politicians in general have been loath to apologize or step down for virtually anything for a long time. Republicans slightly more so. You've occasionally gotten a Democrat to step down for something related to sexual harassment or sexual assault. Yeah, with Madison Cawthorn, it seems like they seem to like this. And when the most recent accusations came out, the statement that his campaign put out was, after this had already been out, the voters delivered him a win by 13 points, which to me is not actually a response to the substance of the allegations, but it does really give you a view as to what lens they look at this sort of material through.
Yeah, I think it's very telling that that's the statement they put out. I don't think that, you can't shame someone who doesn't have shame. I don't think that he is ashamed of this behavior. And I think that they are challenging voters and saying, hey, it doesn't seem like voters have a problem with this. But I would actually counter that most people would find this kind of behavior abhorrent and agree that it has no place in our elected officials.
I want to believe that, but they did elect him. The Trump fans don't seem to have been bothered by not just like an accusation, but Trump had a good portion of a Cosby number of accusations. You always assumed with some people, okay, they're really powerful, one accusation, two isn't gonna do it. But once you hit the dozens, it should matter, but it didn't seem to. And I wonder, I'm glad that you and your organization are calling for him to step down. I think that there should be accountability as well. But do we potentially have to come to grips with enough voters in certain red districts just don't care about racism. They don't care about misogyny or harassment. Like, is it possible that the country in some areas just isn't what we think it should be?
I mean, it's a great question. I do think that we need to have some kind of a national reckoning and dialogue about what is and is not appropriate for elected officials. It's disappointing, to see so many people rally behind people who have been credibly accused of sexual assault, sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, racist behavior, not allegations, but going on television and saying racist things from their mouth. It is troubling to think that a big portion of our country would not be moved by that, not be bothered by that, would happily elect that and vote for that. But I just think it goes to show that we are long overdue to have some kind of a national dialogue around what kind of behavior is and is not appropriate for someone who's an elected official.
I really appreciate you joining us, giving us your perspective on these topics. We've mentioned your podcast, There Are No Girls on the Internet. For people who might not be familiar with it yet, where can they listen to it, and what do you talk about on it?
Well, you can find us on the iHeartRadio network. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And really, it's the kind of conversations that you've raised today, the intersections of underrepresented identities like queer folks, Black folks, women, and the internet, and how we show up or do not show up in those spaces. So please check it out.
Bridget Todd, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.